and it says on air is live. So anyone there and watching, that's great. This is a very informal thing. Chat with myself and Max. Max's show, his suggestive subjects, and yeah, I'm a hired geek exploring a new aspect of YouTube.
Yeah, this is I'm no longer on Psychic Vampires, so this is there were, you know, I'm not going to go into airing dirty laundry or anything like that. This isn't, well, this is gutter journalism, but it's classy, you know.
Yeah, and I think everyone had a good experience, and sometimes things paths cross and they don't continue parallel, and certainly no bad blood to anyone from anyone.
Michael's a great guy, and I wholeheartedly enjoyed working with him. So, you know, I must have not downloaded that video I wanted to do. Yeah. You want a little disclaimer? I actually have a disclaimer ready. Even.
Sure. Yeah. I should say Michael is a great guy. I, however, am not a great guy.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah. Pretty much me too. About a lot of things.
But bottom of the barrel here.
Michael, friend of the show, great guy.
Friend of the show. All right, let's see. Okay, you got that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Seeing your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sharing it at my end. And everyone will excuse, I hope, my technological incompetence. Being from 1972, I'm flying in the dark here, but it seems to be working. So, excellent.
Well, my disclaimer won't open for some reason. So, you know what? Suck it.
Give us the verbal version of your disclaimer.
It's like something like, you know, this is for this is a work of satire for entertainment purposes only. That sounds legal, right?
I mean, I like to go with the basic honesty one, which is, to the best of my understandings, I'm not talking bullshit and I'm not guessing. But if I get stuff wrong, point it out and we'll talk about it. And it is one's duty to offend some people. And
absolutely,
if they're offended, suck it up.
This is let's say Beavis and Butthead meets Scared Straight.
Yeah,
it's a good description of it, right?
It's as good as any, really. I mean, I don't know what fraction of our personalities and opinions come across on the internet, but I know it's a select few out of the entire spectrum. But that's why it's theater, and that's why it's like TV you can be part of.
Yeah.
And a quick say hello to RSC, who's in the chat.
Hey.
Welcome to the Max show. Max is
calling it keeping it real with Yalis Grareel. You know,
that could work, or Max's Millions, or we're not fucking guessing show.
We're not fucking guessing show. Yeah, exactly. What did I call this? This episode was Teal Swan's dumbass doubleheader.
Oh yeah, and you sent me that delightful.
Do you have a working title for this?
The meme with the terrifying looking sex implement on it. Thank you for that.
Rather veiny, you know. It was I like a good and veiny. You know, it's like you know, you ever see like you're in the shitter, you know, out in the public shitter somewhere, and you know, there's all the graffiti on the stalls and stuff. And there's just like a really sloppily drawn penis. And you're like, I'm not upset at you for vandalizing this, but, you know, like, can you put in a little more effort? You know, you got to draw the vein. Otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're going to do it properly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can have respect for that. But I think we go into different public conveniences. I mean, in Basel, They have guys, and it's a beautiful sight, down there every morning hosing out the pissoirs. And quite literally, they are, you could eat your dinner. Not that I would recommend it.
I've eaten out of worse.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right. So, what do you want to get to first? We got I think that what do you got in the title? What's the title say?
I just have Max as the title, and there
All
are a
right.
whole 3 people watching now.
Keep the expectations low here. That's a good strategy to come out of the gates with.
Yeah, it's not really a show, more of a frank exchange of views from a different perspective, but oftentimes a shared understanding, which, as a person who never goes out and doesn't have a life, feels a bit like having a life. So,
well, that's how I feel. But what are you doing?
Yeah, and hi to Vane in the chat. Thanks for dropping by.
Vane.
Yeah, Vane Veen.
Is that name Vane?
Vane Veen.
We were just talking about the Vane.
And
talking
Robin.
about the Blue Vaner.
Yeah, and Robin Eaglesong. Hello, Robin.
Hey, Robin. How's it going?
So yeah, we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff, but before the live broadcast, Max was introducing Teal Swan as a person of interest. And my question to Max and to the rest of the audience is, to what extent do you think she believes any iota of the woo that she spouts and sells? And if she doesn't, is this just a cynical attention grab and cash grab? I don't have a firm opinion on it. So what do you think, Max?
I just can't see how you would believe that, because she's not, she's not Dan Pratt. She seems, I don't want to call her smart, that doesn't seem, because, but she's smarter than the average new age weirdo. And I see it as I don't think she believes any of it, is what I'm trying to say. It's with the new age thing, I've said it before, always seems to be like a flavor of the month thing. It always seems to be, one week it's chemtrails, then it's crystals, then it's flat earth, then it's, crystals again, blah, blah, blah. It's just, it's star fucking.
I love it. I love it when they start to mesh these together, and it's crystals and flat earth and reptiles and the Illuminati and the Masons. So in terms of probabilities, if you combine 2 really improbable things together and then add a third one, the probability of them all being true is like vanishingly tiny. So I love when they continue this infinite regression of minimizing likelihood of fact. And when they cross the boundary such that no evidence for their phenomenon counts as evidence for it.
Well, you can't explain it's Russell's teapot. It's Hitchens' razor. That which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
I love it. There's no evidence to support this. Of course not, because they are covering it up. But that's when my batshit detector goes right off. And I'm like, really? Seriously? And most of the time that I've actually engaged with people who profess these beliefs, they're basically taking the piss. It's a thing that can be used to talk about, and it sparks interest, and that's a beautiful thing. To some extent, my own sweet mother does it. She's a believer in all kinds of weird batshit until you go, well, let's just think about this and take it apart and how it would work. And she's like, yeah, that was complete nonsense, wasn't it?
No, but it's the attitude of, well, keep an open mind. You gotta keep an open mind. If something's ridiculous and there's no evidence to back it up whatsoever, your mind doesn't need to be that open.
No. And from a biological perspective, perception of threat, it's a hell of a lot better to perceive threat where there is none than to miss one lethal threat. So there's a strong adaptive advantage towards, anxiety, quite frankly. But when it starts to dictate how you live your life, and to some extent, whether or not you're locked up in a psychiatric ward, although that's largely separate, take care. But I've heard people defending flat Earth and at the same time spraying vinegar into the air to get rid of chemtrails. And I see the scientific and rational basis for the arguments as being roughly equivalent.
No, there's I saw a thing once. A friend of mine sent it to me. It was a meme. Well, not really a meme, but kind of a meme. It was a guy posted a thing to a flat Earth page on Facebook, and it says, I'm at, wherever, blah blah blah. Where is the curve? It's looking out on the ocean, and then it shows the same picture, and it's actually a screenshot from a video game, and they all bought it. They were all, yeah, where's the curve? Where's the curve?
I've seen one guy use what I think is Grand Theft Auto, the most recent one, where you can fly planes and things, and has cited that as evidence of flat Earth, which I find amazing.
Wait, like he actually believes that it's...
This is a representation of how things actually are, but nothing he presented would indicate other than that. He just assumed that because he was flying at a certain speed for a certain amount of time, the Earth should curve away from him, but not thinking, gravity.
In a video game.
Yeah.
In a fucking video game.
Sure, but that's proof, isn't it? That's proof of
everything.
Yeah,
no, it's certainly, it wouldn't be on the internet if it wasn't true, right?
Well, Nephilim Free remains on the internet, and the guy, although he horrifies me, is also fascinating in that he seems impervious to any kind of correction, irrespective of whether it's done respectfully. He's a bit like the Obi-Wan of the posse.
Yeah. He's like the guru, he's Yoda for G-Man.
Yeah, that's it. That he is Yoda for G-Man.
He can talk out of his ass, and he's really good at it.
For a decade. And it's actually breathtaking.
Because I talk out of my ass all the time, and I got to get lessons from this guy. I'm making shit up at work, just say, I think we should stiffen up the rear suspension because Jesus,
that's right. That's and I'm going to need 350 and the Loch Ness Monster.
350. 350.
Here's the thing. I really like being wrong sometimes because it gives my friends and my family a good opportunity to say, you're wrong, and I'm telling you because you're wrong, and I care about you. And you go, yeah, I'm kind of wrong here. And it's a really good feeling to say, you know what? Ignore everything I just said and did. I was being a jackass.
And I like being wrong. I totally agree with you on that one. I like, I'm open-minded, and I'm willing to hear people out. But there's a certain extent to that,
Well, as a self-protection mechanism, there's one thing that I've learned to do, and I find it very therapeutic. In certain circumstances, to confront reality and say, I have failed in what I've tried to do. Either I need to try and do something else or try to do this thing differently. And it's
ladies and gentlemen, this is a biochemist you're hearing this from right now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a useful rule for living. As we discussed earlier on, that we take different paths in our lives, and the accolades and the degrees are one thing, but being highly skilled and investing time and effort in any
natural talent,
in any skill set,
inclination.
Sure. Like my best buddy, who's a master plumber. He knows dick all about my stuff, and I frankly know dick all about his. So
I know a guy who's dumb as a box of rocks. I'm not going to name drop here, but he's dumb.
True empiricism.
Yeah, he's smarter than that.
Okay.
But pretty dumb. And he taught me almost everything I know about doing body work. You know, he just has a natural talent for it. You know, he's just
Totally.
he has a good degree of mechanical inclination. You know, so
Time,
he's
yeah.
he's a borderline savant. And
I
you know what?
say,
That's great. You know?
if we live in an environment where we depend upon specialized skills, we have to have specialists. And not everyone can be great at everything, but anyone who invests that kind of care and attention gets my respect.
Yeah.
And you know, I've had a lot of opportunities in my life, and I'm glad to say that I've tried to make the best of them. But in the same way as my ancestors weren't doing what I was doing, you know, I couldn't do their jobs, which were highly skilled in different fields. But what I object to with some of the CCP is their assumption that their very limited layman's understanding is in any way equivalent to an extended academic and practical training. And
we
then
will be getting to that later.
Sure.
Me.
Yeah. So that RSC says in the chat, but did he teach you everything you know about hydraulics, referring to true empiricism? Yeah, he did. Actually, my friend Ben taught me a lot about hydraulics based on his high school education, but hydrolysis, no, different thing altogether, G-Man. And I'm glad your back's better.
You know what? I know a lot about making, you know, wings for cars. I'm not an aerodynamicist, but I can fabricate, you know, wings and diffusers, canards, all that good stuff. I'm not an aerodynamicist. It's completely different.
Yeah, and I know Dick all about that. I can almost paint a wheel like a semi-good amateur, but apart from that, I can put gas in it and water and all of those good things. Other than that, I take it to someone exactly like you. But
Well, thank you.
In the same way as if I ever wanted a hot fridge or a blue barrel, I'd go straight to G-Man. And if I ever wanted to learn how to punch like a girl, I'd go straight to true empiricism. And here's a thought for you. If Nephilim Free is the Yoda of the CCP, does that make Tommy Hall the Han Solo?
I'm drawing a blank on Tommy Hall.
Tommy Hall, Lawnmower Man. He's a very affable, passive-aggressive guy who has some very interesting ways of reading part of a scientific paper and interpreting exactly what it doesn't say on multiple occasions.
That sounds a lot like G-Man.
Yeah, they're somewhat similar, although Tommy is generally speaking very personable when you actually have a conversation with him.
Well, you know, like we were saying, like, where is G-Man on the Dan Shelley scale?
That's a complex one because the
that's one you can't just straight up answer. I mean, he's a raging homophobe, but you know, he might just be an idiot with homosexual tendencies. So you know, that's like, yeah, he almost gets a pass on that.
Maybe Max, the Dan Shelley scale is certainly globally accepted, but not many people really understand it. So maybe give your overview of the current position on that ruling.
Didn't you come up with Dan Shelley scale, or was that
Michael? But it's not known to the audience.
Dan Shelley has actually gone pretty far down on the Dan Shelley scale, right?
When he started extracting drinking water from urine, I was like, Dan,
I'm willing to, you know, don't talk to me, you know, stand downwind.
Dan.
When you say you're nonsense, I don't want to smell piss on your breath.
I think Dan is still he's the dynamic meter, the metric of the Dan Shelley scale.
I thought we found someone else recently that was like, I don't. There was the one where he was losing his shit recently, though, where he was, you know, not good old Dan Shelley.
He loses his temper from time to time, and of all of the people of that in that particular Venn group that is not completely defined, so people on that side of the fence, of all of them, when he loses it and behaves in an unpleasant way, he's the only one that I've seen actually sound sincere when he says, please forgive me for being a jackass. So
He's still a jackass. I mean, but yeah, no, Dan, you know, you're all right with us.
Every
you're
time
an idiot, but
I've teased,
as far as retards go, like, yeah, you're
there,
all right, retard.
there have been some classic moments with Dan, and I'll love him forever as a function of that. But I'll be completely upfront. The handful of times that we've interacted directly by text and on the phone, I've teased Dan, and he's never become hostile or unpleasant to the point where I thought it's
This is actually a hostile exchange.
Yeah, it didn't happen. And
Busting each other's balls. You know what? He goes back up for that.
I'm saying the Dan Shelley thing is good. And the Dan Shelley scale, briefly, is
good.
People have a range of weird behaviors. And if they're sincere...
I certainly have some.
Sure, me too. If they're sincere and they don't harm people, and if they're entertaining, and if people are honest and don't behave like dicks, they're high up on the Dan Shelley scale.
Oh, yeah.
If they're not selling anything.
No, oh yeah, of course. You immediately plummet with that one.
Yeah, so it's like a measure of benign eccentricity verging into craziness that doesn't really have a profound downside, like our local electric rabbi, the rabbi on the electric unicycle. It's weird, but nobody's really being hurt by that, you know, at least his mode of transport.
I'd be giving that guy a thumbs up, man. I'd be like, yeah, you're a rabbi on an electric unicycle. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. But when it turns into I'm preaching hell and damnation and I'm just behaving really badly, and then I'm saying I'm going to hide behind my holy book or something else, at the most basic level, in my view, that's a cop-out of honesty.
Always.
I have a special rule that says I can do this and I don't care how you feel.
And even though that this is, you know, this is religion, this isn't science, this isn't something that can actually be proved, my book is right.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, so and that's why I'm allowed to be a dick about it.
I greatly prefer, you know, I'll celebrate and in fact fight for someone's right to believe whatever they choose. If
absolutely.
If it's a benign thing, and to practice it. And, you know, in this environment, we have synagogues and churches and mosques and temple and shamanic meeting groups, and everybody's getting on. It's okay. But when they stray into the areas that are empirically measurable, quantifiable, like science and medicine, things like that, evolution as well, of course.
Down in Ybor City, down in, you know, the Tampa Bay area, there are actually still Hare Krishnas. I shit you not.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I saw the guy going by. It was the they have a great St. Patrick's Day parade.
The Hare Krishnas?
I think I was the only person there of any Irish descent whatsoever. But
Hare Krishnas doing St. Paddy's Day. I love that image.
Yeah, no, there's fucking Hare Krishna handing out the beads and the drum, and you know what? Good for you, you freak show. You know, you're the last asshole banging the drum, and I can really respect that.
But yeah, I mean, at the most philosophical I get, whatever gets you through the night, whatever stops you being a horrible person, and whatever gives you comfort when you're dying, sure, go for it. Just don't ask me to pay for it, and don't ask me to believe your bullshit.
No, and you know what? Like, wasn't that Kurt Vonnegut, Cat's Cradle? What was the quote?
Yeah, that's right. And,
something like that.
Cat's Cradle is an interesting book to read about how religious belief systems and lifestyles can emerge in a microcosmic environment. I'm not saying that's how they did emerge, but it's not too far away. And certainly my limited involvement in the CCP G-Man discussion is fascinating. But my end point on that is I see no reason to actually engage with these people face to face, because not one of them is honest based on what they say and how they behave.
Dude's just nuts. But I thought I had something to say and I forgot it. Hang on. Hare Krishna's
St. Paddy's Day.
No, Cat's Cradle. You know what? At the end of that book, you know that song "Float On" by Modest Mouse?
Yeah.
For some reason, the end of that book reminded me of that song. Like it was kind of playing in my head.
I can understand.
Yeah, it sounds about right. It is, because it's kind of a upbeat kind of thing to it.
Well, the concept of having your holy book in a series of calypso couplets is really charming, I think, and underlines the poetic requirement to induce mass hypnosis in a susceptible population. Did I say that? Sorry, didn't mean.
You were worried about, like, everyone's worried. Oh shit, Max is back. What's he gonna say?
Well, whatever Max says is it may not represent the views of Doc Savage, Shaman Watch, or the Savage Institute. However,
it probably does.
It's probably worth listening to, nonetheless. So, but, what subject did you want to explore? Because I know you had some science things.
One more quick thing in the intro here, because I was actually going to bring it up earlier. You know what's a really fun game? You know, like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. Kevin Bacon was in this with this person and blah blah blah. Do that with conspiracy theories.
Absolutely, because they're all intrinsically linked at some level.
You can do it. And if there isn't one, make it up.
Finland.
It's even
Finland
more
isn't
fun when you make it up and then you actually Google it and you find out it's a real thing. Like, for example, mine was 9/11 and Project Bluebeam.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 9/11 was a dry run for Project Bluebeam. Mm-hmm. And I looked it up, and it's people actually believe this.
There's just some amazing stuff. And one of my hobbies is to dive deep down rabbit holes from time to time. Apparently, Finland isn't real.
And, say that.
Finland,
shit.
Finland, Helsinki, that whole bit. That's not real. That's
Kimi Räikkönen has been lying to me this whole time. Motherfucker.
And the other one that I really like is Hitler was in fact a dolphin.
Wait, that's real?
Hitler was a dolphin. Yeah.
I thought that was a joke. I think I'd heard that somewhere, but I think Hitler was a dolphin.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's.
I've actually started I'll go on. This is just the kind of person I am. I go on like Mandela effect pages on Facebook, and I actually just go on there and make shit up and see if it'll bite. The big one that I actually got going was Building 7 did not exist until after 9/11. and I got people to believe it.
But yeah,
it was a big argument.
It was totally there.
People telling each other that they're shills, and you got to understand, it's so easy to fuck with these people because there's just this attitude that that makes sense. That, like the Mandela effect too, because there's no way whatsoever to prove that right or wrong too.
Well, so isn't the Mandela effect synonymous with the making shit up effect?
I think it is.
It kind of related there. It might be on the psychic spectrum, similar to that. But imagine, I mean, I think you're completely correct that it's easy to fuck with these guys and manipulate them. Imagine if you had that realization and no real conscience and decided to get
Oh,
$5 a month out of each one of them.
yeah, man. No, that's what that's kind of a Teal Swan thing. That's kind of the question you asked earlier of do you think that Teal Swan really believes any of this? I mean, what someone's got to make a buck off of it.
Sure. And if general rule of the Danchelli calculation, which is a complex algorithm, is if you have a store where you're selling stuff with bogus made up magic powers, all of your points are deducted.
Oh yeah.
That's maybe a bit harsh. Let's say
no. That's fair. That's fair.
And I'm not talking about selling, Teal Swan nudie books or
You know what?
t-shirts or whatever.
I got to release the nudes at some point. Can you put nudes on YouTube?
I think you really should do that because there is the
They're not tasteful either.
For the audience, Max is a really handsome guy, but he's very much the Billy the Fridge of psychic vampires, as was.
Wait, Billy the Fridge.
I'm joking.
I'm just thinking of the American football player.
Billy the
Fridge. Is
Billy
that like
the Fridge is a white guy rapper on Drunken Peasants, and he's a very talented guy and very funny guy. And he did a competitive rap with G-Man, which was tragic.
I'd love to hear it.
G-Man sitting looking at this guy on camera and said, "Oh, I didn't know you were fat." It's like, Billy weighs like 800 pounds. Apologies, Billy. You're a beautiful man. But,
you know what? I've got the best rack on the show, so I'm looking at you, Robin. I got some better ha-has.
So, are they furry?
They are.
That's
I'm Italian. I can't help it. So.
Yeah. And for the ladies out there, he gets sweaty. He works hard physically. And the Max calendar will be available on our store, and it has magical powers.
The Erotic Max 2019 will be in the. I guess I'm not allowed to associate myself with psychic vampires anymore, am I?
No, don't.
It'll be in the Max store.
Max's Millions Skrilla Villa store.
And for the guys who somehow aren't attracted to me, we got the nude Teal Swan calendar too, the pepperoni nipples.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not even. You saw the picture, right?
I tried to blank that part of my memory.
She got some pepperonis, fam.
I'm not commenting about nippleitudes. That's definitely not my sphere of expertise. And Teal's appearance, such as it is, she always kind of reminds me of a snake that's just about to fucking bite you. But maybe that's just me getting Freudian. But there's something scary behind those cold, dead eyes.
You know what? That monotone is sexy.
Hello, everyone.
When you pair that with the inappropriate laughter and the robotic monotone, that gets me rock hard. Not gonna lie.
If anyone's interested, have a look up. I don't know how to induce semi-hypnotic and low-level hypnotic states and ways that can be accomplished. Read that stuff. It'll take you about an hour, and then watch anything that Teal Swan projects. And there are a bunch of other gurus, all of whom utilize both this and other sales techniques in their spiels. And the classic example of this, but he's more huckster than hypnotist, is David Avocado Wolf.
Oh, I hate that guy.
Who energetically spouts laughable nonsense and gets people to buy blenders and all kinds of shit.
Not even laughable nonsense. Very, very harmful shit. Like, did you hear the thing about speaking of, we're going to be doing some autism related stuff later, and he said something about curing autism with bleach enemas.
Yeah,
we're also going to be doing enemas later. Well, wait. We are not going to, I can't speak for Doc, but I'm not going to be shoving things up my ass. I'm going to show you a video of someone shoving something up their ass.
Lovely. So this is a family show, but we will be doing a regular piece on, I believe, rectal foreign bodies. And if you don't like it, no, there you go. It's Max's show.
You don't like it, shove it up your ass.
Precisely. Maybe we could do a bit called that, you know, a bit like Dusty Smith's This Week in Religious Bullshit. I think that's excellent.
This week in the
Tardosphere. Yeah, David Wolf jumps on and off the more dangerous bandwagons, but his core message is the same as every other fraud, huckster, snake oil salesman. Buy my stuff.
And you totally believe he was a clone of Charles Manson.
It's very spooky, isn't it? But he's bloating up like an elephant now. And
is he?
What I'm wondering about is, you know, has he... Well, chocolate is apparently an octave of the sun, whatever that means.
But it means he pulled it out of his ass.
And the reason that water sticks to the planet is because it has salt in it. And if it's fresh water, it just gets beamed up to Scotty or some nonsense. So what does that even mean? He's channeling Deepak Chopra, but reminds me more than anything of market traders, the very skilled guys who can talk you into buying something by a little bit of hypnosis, a little bit of mass hysteria, some excitement, and some good theater. And I respect it as an art. But when it's...
I don't respect it. I mean, you know, it's impressive, but I don't respect it.
Well, as long as you're not selling people B17 for their cancer.
Well, he was doing the whole, you know, bleach enema thing. So...
Yeah, maybe
you didn't hear about that.
Well, I've followed the MMS nonsense for a while, and it's one of the more blatant and more obviously harmful. Miracle Mineral Solution, which is essentially a bleach solution that's used rectally. As a proposed
this
treatment.
isn't like anal bleaching. This is like,
this is
hey, squirt it up your asshole. You know,
yeah,
we're doing this.
If you read the bleach instructions, it says definitely for external use only. The thing that troubles me most about this is it's typically being administered to third parties, as in people's kids. So if you're an informed, consenting adult and you're choosing to do some batshit stuff, because some bizarre guru...
That's called evolution.
That's, you know, I would give you
man, you want proof?
Not to. Yeah. But if your child has a condition, or may have a condition, take them to the doctor. Don't give them a bleach enema and expect it to cure jack shit.
Don't stick anything up a kid's ass.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Rule of thumb, pardon the expression.
But here's the thing. How dumb do you have to be to actually try that in good faith in the 21st century, in the Western world? Oh yeah, this stuff I use to clean my toilet. Yeah, let's ingest, or let me introduce that to my child's body cavity. That sounds like a really good idea, for Christ's sake.
You know, it's like you said earlier when we were talking about the whole thing about, you know, you working for, big pharma, you know. It's... Think about it this way, you know, think about like if you were brought up in a very religious household and, you know, eventually, you know, you go, you know, let's say it's Christianity, you know, let's say like,
sure.
Wait a minute.
Let's say it's Christianity because it's the kind of culture that we're both most familiar with. Yeah. But it
You
could
know,
equally well be in Islam or Hinduism or anything
oh
else.
yeah. And you know, let's say, you know, you're thinking one day and you go, you know, that whole thing about the ark, I don't know how true that is, you know, that I don't know if that's legit. And you start wondering, you know, like you start thinking, wait a minute, okay, now there's other things in the Bible that don't make sense, you know. So there's no,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the earth isn't 6,000 years old, you know, the earth is, you know, way older than that. And you go through
Blasphemer.
all exactly.
Blasphemer. Max, to interrupt very briefly, I recall the moment, and I was 5 years old. I was in grade 2, and the vicar was telling us, the school pastor was telling us about the ark and the animals 2 by 2 and the flood and blah, 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 blah. And it was a moment of crystallization. I sat there listening and going, you are lying to us and you know it. And that's when I became an atheist.
You know what? That's a great example, you know. And there's, you know, but like the thing is that I was trying to get to with this, and thank you, because that's actually a better example than, you know, me just giving a, you know, a hypothetical. Is you know, let's say that's, you know, let's say that's you, but you know, let's say you're an adult, you know, when you figure this out, and it's not, you know, you're a 5-year-old kid, and you're thinking, you know, about the whole thing, and you go, okay, well, everything I've been taught my entire life is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So you start thinking for yourself, and you get this inkling of self-awareness. You know, you get this thing, and you know, they call it woke. You know, oh, I'm woke. I'm not a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's really exciting. It's that
yeah, yeah.
spark of, oh, I might be becoming creative.
Mm-hmm. And you get this that little inkling of self-awareness, and you go, wait, so the thing I was brought up with wasn't right. So you think, and then you fall into the next trap. You fall right into the whole like new age thing, or
Sure.
Scientology, or whatever the fuck you're getting, you know,
Well,
flim flammed into,
I,
because
yeah,
your
I think,
brain wants to think for itself, and then you deprive it of that. You know, then you look for another, you know, authority figure to listen to.
well, as we were discussing earlier on, you know, if you adopt the biological model, which includes things like social behavior and the evolution of culture in animals with sentience, the higher apes in our condition, in our example, we're semi-civilized territorial primates with a tendency towards hierarchy and patriarchy based on physiognomy. And a lot of what we see, or a lot of, in my opinion, what we see in human culture is a direct extension of that. But our beautiful brains cast meaning and emotion over the top of a lot of that innate behavior. But by innate behavior, I say a pattern that is innately wired, but which can be controlled and moderated based on our learning and our culture and our maturity. But you know, that's the behaviorist, ethologist, evolutionary argument. Of course, we could just say, I have no basis or understanding of how ethics and morals could be subjective and present, because I don't believe that God is a thing.
When I kind of lost. I didn't sleep last night. Holy shit!
And
I kind of went a little off track there, but I get where you're going. Yeah, because
I
that's
need to
the
be a bit quiet as well. Just saying,
no,
apes.
no, 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 no. You're great. You kind of legitimize me because you actually are a doctor. Otherwise, I'm just like militant atheist Teal Swan here.
Well, I think what we say stands and falls collectively, but I enjoy meeting people with very different backgrounds and talking
Same
about
here.
interesting stuff. And anyone who appreciated the poop hoarder episode as much as I did, we could probably have a conversation.
There
But
was shit everywhere.
this is a reason it's really
It was
important that
so great.
I really have to have a day job, because if I'm working for myself at all hours of the day and night, sometimes I'm a little bit wired and I'll find stuff like that.
You know, I when I can't sleep, it takes me to some dark places. It really does. Usually along those lines, you know, something about, you know, just the poop porter was excellent. You know, it was. I made it through that whole episode though. I am a fucking trooper, so I'm tough.
That poor woman, although it was cringy, the hilarity was that she sounded like a really, really nice lady. And
oh yeah, no, she was pretty high on the Dan Shelley scale. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near her, but
sure,
you know, because of all the poop. But
she sounded totally rational, except that
well,
she had a collection.
I mean, that's a big if right there, Doc. Hang on a second.
You know, it's like there was a
totally rational other than the poop thing. You know, it's like you know, she was shitting in a bucket.
She was, yeah, that's true. But you know, eccentricity.
In her own house.
There was a guy in Iceland who, when he passed away, he left his collection to the state, and his collection was of penises.
I think I've heard of that guy.
Different animals and all kinds of things. And there's a museum in Reykjavik that you can go and see a bunch of willies. But they don't mention that in the adjoining room to his cock museum was his Nazi memorabilia. I always thought, you know, why don't they do an adjoining?
I was about to say, you know, penis museum. Okay, that's kind of educational, even. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, it's gross, but I guess penises are, you know, things, and it's like, oh no, right next to the Nazi memorabilia. There we go.
You know, so apparently the guy didn't really do anyone any significant harm, and you know, bequeathed this educational resource to the people of Iceland. I lived there for a couple of years, and I went into
the Nazi memorabilia
in Reykjavik.
That's a sentence I thought I'd never say in my life, and yet here we are.
I did go into the reception of the museum and had a look around, and they're like, "Would you like to come in? It's only like $25." I'm like, "Really? No." And we've got 57 different kinds of penis. I'm like, a lot like Heinz soup. That's fantastic.
But, exactly. You know what? I don't know if I'd be able to pass that up. Because then, you know, like the rest of your life, there's going to be. Remember that time I didn't go to the penis museum? Like, if you go to the penis museum, you're gonna if you don't go to the penis museum, you're gonna regret that for the rest of your life.
No,
if you go to the penis museum, you're probably also going to regret that for the rest of your life. But, you know, in a very different way of, well, I was curious versus, you know what? I heard they had some weird dicks there, and I kind of want to see them.
Yeah.
And then just immediately cringe and look away. But
I felt very neutral about it. It's like penis museum or go home and have a nap. Don't know. But I love museums, and I did go to the Museum of Sausage and Sausage Kind in Milwaukee,
close enough.
Which was really good, tasty too.
I'd assume you get kicked out if you try to eat the exhibit at the penis museum.
But they do feed good, so that people tend not to graze on the artifacts.
Wait, are we talking about the sausage museum?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. You know, the whole jar thing, you might mistake it for a pickle, and it'll get pretty bad. What was I going to say? Penises, Nazis, Nazi penises. Out of some joke about the Nazis and the circumcision or something like that.
And we had talked about the most absurd conspiracy theories. Space Jews is a favorite of mine. I'm looking into space Jews at the moment.
I am not aware of space Jews. I'm aware of Jews in space, Mel Brooks, and I'm aware of Nazis on the moon.
Mm-hmm. Well, just like the star seeds have made up this whole cosmic battleground for which there's no evidence at all, and it's hilarious.
Is it like star seeds, or is it within the star seed thing? So it's like star seeds, but okay, it's like one of those things where it's like, that's a stupid conspiracy theory, but at least, I guess they're not hurting anybody. And then they go, oh, and we also hate Jews. And they go, yep, there you go.
Yeah. The Jews and space Nazis on the moon thing is my own special starseeds microcosm. So I don't know where that's going to go yet, but with Hitler being a dolphin and Noah's flood hitting the moon, you can see how it could all go together. You just have to connect the dots.
Yeah, it's the Kevin Bacon thing. Just gotta. It's all there.
Marine mammals.
That's what these people do all the time. That's the only way they stay relevant in their videos. You gotta. There's a UFO channel. The one I prank called. Did I ever show you that video?
No, tell us about it.
It's a long story, but long story short, I had prank called a UFO channel and told them I was a Trill from Star Trek, and they believed it. It's a great video. Everything was ripped from Star Trek. Everything I said.
I tell you what,
and they believed it. No one was like, but it really goes to how pathetic these people are, and what they actually will report on. That the standard is that low that if a guy calls into your show and he says, "Yeah, I'm an alien,"
mm-hmm.
And you just immediately take that, and run with it,
Mm-hmm. If you're considering it to be a statement of fact, absolutely. But I was just thinking there, can you imagine how different the world would be if instead of one of the major world religions, people adopted the behavior and the moral values that are expressed in Star Trek?
What do you think I'd live by?
Yeah, well, me too.
I'm serious. It's, I see Star Trek as a modern day epic.
Yep. And for me, having Patrick Stewart play both Captain Picard and Captain Ahab, there was a certain resonance in that. But the atheist, non-materialist, cooperative, democratic, egalitarian culture that is portrayed, and even which was portrayed even in the late 60s.
Oh yeah, no, and there was probably, it's probably my favorite. One of my favorite original series episodes is you remember Who Mourns for Adonis, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one with Apollo.
Yeah. And
all the innuendo they managed to slip into that episode about atheism and everything.
Yeah.
Was, hold on. Give me 1 minute here.
We don't have any low-tech hip-hop music to broadcast at this point, so if anyone's actually watching, please feel free to sing your favorite song until Max returns.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just advising the audience to sing their favorite song until you got right back. The only point I was going to make was at the time the original Star Trek came out, they had people of color and women of color in positions of authority.
The lieutenant on the bridge behind the captain.
Which stands in contrast to the social and cultural position of the US at that point, which had, in very recent past, got rid of segregation. So there's a big step forward. And in terms of Star Trek The Next Generation, there's a very short scene in the opening frames of the whole series with a bunch of guys in dresses, and you have to look really carefully.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember that.
But they just kind of dropped that in. And I'm not saying that these series preempted or drove those positive changes, but they resonated back into the public sphere.
Intro where no man has gone before. By Next Generation, they changed that to where no one has gone before.
Yeah.
I mean, just because, between the original Star Trek and the Next Generation, they realized that the word man was problematic, that, awareness had been raised, and they said, you know what, we're gonna say one instead of man.
Isn't that
But
beautiful? It's almost scientific that
it's
when you realize
life imitates art, art imitates life. Here was the thing I was going to get, is I actually bought this at a convention. It's a signed picture of the guy who played Apollo.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So
great.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite episodes, and I saw that and I was like, holy shit, signed picture of Apollo. I gotta buy that,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of benign influence that can be taken from the stories, but I wouldn't claim that the works of Gene Roddenberry and successors are a holy text. But there's no guidance in there to behave like a dick and do genocide. And
I mean, there's a lot less rape in Star Trek than there is in the Bible. So,
Yeah. I'm going to stick with living long and prospering and being a cross between Data and Spock. It seems to work okay.
A little bit of Worf.
Yeah, well, a little bit. Yeah, it does come out. And I think that's part of the character profiles, that there's a little bit of all
Absolutely.
of them in every one of us.
They always had, conflicting personalities on the bridge. They always had they had conflict, but it was at the same time, it was, it was people working together.
I always liked Scotty because he was definitely Scottish and exactly like many of them, and how nothing would ever work. It's like we're all doomed. No, don't worry, man, it's fine. And,
no, I definitely have the Scotty attitude with my cars, my bikes, and everything. And I don't know, I always really like Bones too, because it's the there's the argument that Star Trek was really about Bones. It wasn't about Captain Kirk. It wasn't about Spock. It was about it was about Scotty and Uhura and Chekhov and Sulu and all the other guys. That it was about kind of a, not like an everyman, but like an intellectual everyman.
mm-hmm.
That Bones is this, he's this really accomplished surgeon and everything. He's not as smart as Spock. He's not as brave as Captain Kirk, but he contributes. He comes through in the clutch.
He's the archetypal medic healer, shaman figure, I guess, and he reminds me of the doctor in Deadwood, who is,
I was going to say Gunsmoke, but yeah,
deeply flawed and knows it and is pragmatic in a very unstable environment and does his best. But it's worse. It's worse than that. He's dead, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. And he's blunt, but he's compassionate, and he's it's a really well written show. It's kind of like it's you look back and it's in the '60s, and all the effects are cheesy. Like you remember the Companion.
Yeah, and everything was shot.
Companion.
It's shot like stage theater with a cast of characters, and it wasn't intended to be a real thing, I guess. But from the psychological perspective, you've got Jim Kirk and his partner Bones and Spock, and there's a lot of ego, superego, Ed dynamic there,
and almost kind of a holy trinity. Just saying.
Yeah,
I mean, you would kind of a. What? I'm being serious. I'm not even like.
No. I do love it. If we were to do a formal analysis of the teachings of Gene Roddenberry versus the Bible, and by Roddenberry as Old Testament, let's include TNJ and New Testament.
Oh, absolutely. Have you watched Discovery at all?
I'm a bit of a purist. Discovery, yes. Voyager, no. And Deep Space Nine, I think this is a Muppet Show bus stop.
Uh,
I'm not interested, you know?
okay. My name is Yalis Grariel.
Mm-hmm.
My logo is Trill Spots.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying right now.
I know, and I'm being honest.
No,
But
no, no. But yeah, the first two were obviously the best. I'm really enjoying Discovery. Uh, really, I'm a little behind on it actually, but it's really well written. It's a little darker, a little grittier,
mhm.
but a very good show. Um,
I have to say to the audience, if it's not glaringly obvious, Max and I are from different generations. For me, there are only 3 Star Wars movies, and only 2 of them were any good. And there are only 2 seasons, or 2 versions of Star Trek, the original and the Next Generation. All the rest are very interesting provisional teachings, but they're not the true gospel
well,
of...
they were posthumous, you know. It's like the Islam of Star Trek.
Exactly. They're an homage to the gospel of Gene Roddenberry.
They are. You know,
All
it's
praises to the Most High.
Jolan True.
Yeah. Shalom, and live long and prosper.
That actually is the Vulcan salute is actually a Jewish thing.
Yeah. Hey,
It was Leonard Nimoy's idea.
When someone does that, just in passing, hey, live long and prosper, I'm like, I'm probably never going to have a problem with you.
No, yeah, no. But I've actually got a Vulcan salute sticker on the back of my Kia. It's like you know, no. You know how the guys have the shocker on the back of their cars? I've got a spocker.
For me, I do like man bling, and I get to dress up in office drag now. So I have a very nice suit with a little gold pin in the shape of the Star Trek logo. It's about the size of a dime. So it's subtle, and if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't get it. You know,
well,
you wouldn't
know,
look
if you don't
hard
know
enough.
what it is, you're probably not getting along. So you know, it's a good litmus test there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you want to hear something embarrassing? And by embarrassing, I mean probably pretty racist. I'm going to tell you anyway, so we're doing this.
Sure, it's your show,
So
man.
I once went to a Star Trek convention, and it was at a hotel, and I saw these people wearing these costumes in the parking lot. And so I flashed them like a salute. And, you know, they had these costumes. They looked like vaguely Star Trek. I thought they were like Vulcans or Bajorans or something.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah.
And I go into the hotel, and there's an traditional Indian wedding going on at the same time.
Okay. I don't think that counts as racist. It's
you know what?
It's
That's
a misunderstanding.
just really dumb.
But you know what? When I've seen Captain Braids Too Tight in the Black Hebrew Israelites dressed up in their gear, they look like the guys in Who Watches the Watchers, and it's very pantomime. So if you're being racist, then I guess I am too.
I'm darker than Brother Skin Too Light. I mean,
Brother Skin Too Light and Brother Braids Too Tight.
I am a magnificent Dago. I got Brother Skin Too Light beat on that one.
Yeah, and do you have any connections to organized crime or any other bizarre negative racial stereotypes?
Of course not. No Italian has ever been connected to anything shady ever.
There is no there is no mafia. There's no mafia.
Oh, what are you talking about? Mob? Like there's a big like crowd somewhere? I don't know what the mob is.
Yeah. So I'm glad we've got that out of the way. And as a Scot,
racism.
I don't look like groundskeeper Willie, so go for it. I don't have red hair.
What about Jim Clark?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I look more like Hugh Jackman, only older and not as muscular or awesome. So actually, someone said the other day, and I took it as a compliment, that I now dress a lot like Tom Baker as Doctor Who.
Awesome, man.
I'm like, oh, that's really not that bad.
No, yeah. You know what? We've been bullshitting for how long now? How about we get some of these videos here? Because
sure, I'm only really good for another half hour or so, I guess.
oh shit. Okay.
So let's do it.
All right, let's get to Teal Swan being a terrible person. Oh, fuck me in the ass. Really? Okay. We're having technical difficulties. Balls. All right, hang on. We're doing this old school here. You still on?
Still here. I've been sharing your screen. I'm just going to mute for a minute or so.
All right, hang on. You know, I downloaded all these videos and I had these big grand plans and the whole thing going on, and I shat the bed. I'm sorry.
The best laid plans go astray, but it's good to have a chat in, well, to
As far as
explore a
winging
bunch
it
of
goes, I think we're doing pretty good.
explore a bunch of interesting subjects and sow some seeds. So we're planning to do some things about the pharmaceutical industry and vaccination, autism, quack medicine.
Again, back to Star Trek is, you know, like the other thing about Teal is, you remember in the fourth Star Trek movie where the woman's getting dialysis or chemotherapy or something, and Bones is like, "What is this? The Dark Ages?" You know, he's all being Bones about it, and you know what I'm talking about? That scene. All right, found the video.
Okay.
Hold on, there's an ad. Hold on. Screen share.
Yeah, and just a quick hello to Lucifer Almighty in the chat. Much appreciated. Feel free to leave any comments. We certainly don't censor stuff. So whatever you need to say.
Now there's an error. Dick tips. Really half-assing this one today with the videos.
That's okay. I mean, coming from 1970, I was having to watch young people set up YouTube Hangouts on YouTube videos to work out how to do it. I'm like, how hard can this be? G-Man does it every day. Why am I struggling?
You know what? That is a very interesting point. That is, it's actually pretty upsetting, isn't it? But I don't know. The best thing is Drag was doing a video of G-Man, and he all of a sudden he yells, "I am at work," and he points at the barrels, and I just completely lost my shit when I saw that. Yeah, it was so funny.
I mean, there are all kinds of work, and we talked about how much any kind of work. You know, hold down a job and you'll get some kind of respect from me.
Yeah, no, exactly. But he's not Dan Pratt, you know. But
for one, I can't do extended hangouts when I'm at work because I have to concentrate on things.
I'm busy stacking barrels.
I can't really do more than one personal phone call because I'm busy. And because someone is paying me for my time, there's a work ethic kind of thing going on. That if I'm goofing around doing my own shit, I'm basically stealing. So, not really into that.
Why are these opening then closing? You know what? This was working earlier.
It seems to be crashing. Eh?
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Well, tell you what, next time we will do a more extensive tech test to begin with and work it out.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
I'm sorry, folks. I promised things up butts, and you know what?
I don't be concerned. We've done some interesting stuff here tonight.
I've got good videos here. I've got 8 ways to know you're speaking light language. Got how to do a coffee enema step by step through whatever.
Nice.
I'd like to get your 2 cents on coffee enemas. And honestly, things up your ass in general.
Generally try and avoid things going up your ass.
But like, you know, like what's the science, quote unquote science behind, you know,
the science.
I like my coffee black, not brown.
The science of butt chugging.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the mucous membranes of your colon and intestine can absorb stuff.
Yeah, no.
Because that's what they do. So in the same way as if you consume cheap wine, you'll get a buzz off it. The same happens when you chug it up your rectum. Some say, and I don't know the science of this or the data behind it, that you get a lot more wasted a lot more quickly, which may in fact be the case if you're prepared to take a cocktail up the coolie. You can also ingest other substances. Suppository medicine is been present forever, really. But yeah, generally speaking, unless it's something that you particularly enjoy that you're doing for fun, avoid stuff going up your ass. Coffee, you're going to get pretty wired. And it does have an astringent effect, so you're probably going to shit your stomach out of your anus. So as a purgative, it would almost certainly be effective. But what I need to say is don't take it straight from the espresso machine at 87 degrees centigrade.
I think they did say to let it cool down a little, but
you really, really need to do that. Otherwise, you're basically going to scour out your entire intestine and give yourself internal burns. Don't do that.
I mean, like, it's just like a thing of it's interesting. I mean, of course, to me, it is that it's interesting because it's up the butt, or like, and you know, because it's up the butt and not in the mouth. That it's kind of like. Oh, well, see, this is interesting.
Well, I guess it's novel and
like,
but
it's like it's when it's your birthday and your wife lets you try the other hole,
Well, I would not know. I would not know about wives and birthdays and things, but it strikes me as being a little bit like those horrible places where you can go and stick your feet in a bucket of fish. And the fish nibble on your toe cheese.
Wait. That's a thing?
That's a thing. Maybe it's a Europe thing. I don't know. But
it sounds like a Europe thing. It sounds like it'd be like a, like, I'm going to get the country wrong and sound racist again. But you get the idea.
Well, you basically sit in a comfy chair and you put your feet in fish tanks and little fish nibble on your toe cheese, and it does things to your chakras or such. And when I heard that, people paying money for this nonsense.
Anytime someone says chakra, it's kind of like, okay, no, you're making this up.
Yeah. Your aura, your chakras, It's
your butthole chakra.
It's very much the same as the hoodoo man and all that stuff. But people will pay for anything if you say it's you say it's beneficial.
No, yeah, no.
You know, can you imagine? Yeah, give me $50 and you can stick your feet in this bucket of moles, and they'll wiggle around and it will readjust your toe chakras. $50. There you go. Fucking moles. It's no more ridiculous. And a friend of mine, certainly an acquaintance from way back, is sort of midlifing and he's rediscovering all kinds of whatever. And he went for colonic irrigation. Cost him £80. So I guess about $130, $140. And his friends, when he announced this on Facebook, were like, have you lost the plot? You're paying someone $140 to stick a hose up your ass. And I have to comment with, I would probably pay someone that much not to stick a hose up your ass.
Yeah.
But
it's just, it's not my kind of, good idea of a Saturday night to have something up my ass, and
But the thing is, you need to have a license to administer these things. So presumably, there's a college course that some poor bastard is teaching. It's like, good morning, class. Today, we're going to learn the core skills of your profession, and you're going to spend the rest of your working life carrying out this essential health-giving exercise. Here's your hose. Please find a partner in the class.
Alternatively, if you want to kill yourself, maybe now's the time.
Oh, I mean, I tend to break things down. People are doing this and people are paying for it. God bless their hearts. But someone's teaching it and they're getting up with a hangover to go, what are you going to do today, love? Teaching kids how to shove hoses up each other's asses. And they're paying you for that? Oh, yeah. Because I'm a master.
Who's the bigger rummy, though? Like the guy that's in the class, or the guy whose job it is? Okay, now you want to, you don't want to like stick it up there like too, hard.
Yeah.
You want to be a little gentle with the hose. Just when you shove it up the guy's ass,
I'm just.
You want to be.
I'm imagining working for a Scottish plumber friend I did in the summers some time ago. He would say, "Aye, be a wee bit gentle there, son. You're no rodding out a drain." So yeah, I mean that's an instructor's job I don't want. And as we were talking about Billy Connolly, another one of the most holy, he does a thing about the suicide bomber instructor. And he says, "Pay attention, lads. I'm only going to show you this once."
I saw that. It was the one you sent me, right?
Yeah. And it's wrong, and it's funny because it's wrong, and yet,
But, that's why it's funny. It is funny because it's wrong,
Yeah, exactly. And, there's cultural resonance in that, we come from a similar place. And I recognize over many years the guy's amazing talent, but also his health condition and how he's managing it is helpful to me for personal reasons. But the hilarity is great. And I do particularly enjoy, and the audience might like this one, when he discusses the Al-Qaeda attack on Glasgow Airport and the response to it. Basically, the baggage handler kicking the shit out of the suicide bomber guys who are on fire at the time, just beating the crap out of them. It's like, don't come here. Please, you made a big mistake.
Come here, Hayes. Come here.
Yeah, and
up here too?
Hello to Rimsey in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in to this impromptu hangout. And
got
oh my God, he owns an Ewok.
Couple of co-hosts here with me. They're scared of thunder.
What do you think
Yeah.
about true empiricism exploiting his dogs on camera? And I'm asking your dogs here. What was their opinion on Luna?
What do you think, guys? Well, oh, they think true empiricism's a douche.
I'm going to ask a little edgy question here. So anyone who's easily offended in the audience, deal with it.
No, really? Us? Offensive?
Okay, you ready? This is an adult
Okay.
warning question. Okay. Do you think true empiricism's nutsack smells like doggy treats? I'm just asking. What?
I'd be more inclined to believe that true empiricism's dog's nutsack smells like whatever true empiricism ate for dinner.
That's, you've just taken it to a whole new grotesque level. There.
You started with bestiality. I
Yeah.
just finished the job.
And true, I apologize, but I have no basis for my morality. And
yeah, no, we're godless heathens.
Yeah, and I still
other than that, quite nice guys.
I still don't ascribe to the it's complex and nifty, therefore Jesus argument. You lost me a long time back on that one.
No, yeah, that's above my pay grade right there. That's
yeah, but he knows a lot about hydraulics, so
Does he?
Sorry, no, hydrolysis and turbines and ATP and whatnot.
Ask the penis.
Excuse me, pardon?
ATP, ask the penis, right?
No, adenosine triphosphate, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, I bet True knows a little bit about that too, right?
Well, don't know. I have to say,
G-Man, a little bit of that.
I was concerned about G-Man because I don't know if everyone knows, but he was in the hospital recently, and he is now back at home and substantially calmer. But Percocet is a very good, very good drug, and it seems to be really working.
Visited by Karen,
but all credit where it's due. G-Man during his stay in hospital and afterwards did thank those people in the atheist community who behaved like regular human beings and suspended hostility and wished him well.
Well, our morality, we have no basis for our morality,
none.
We just kind of swing wild, you know.
But the tribal empathy of caring for other people, even if you don't agree with them or even like them.
In all seriousness, G-Man, I'm glad you're doing better. I didn't hear about what happened, but and your doctor was probably an atheist as well. So
yeah. So no harmed wish, but you still are an incoherent douchebag.
Exactly. We were nice to him for like 3 seconds. Fuck him.
And for long as your incoherent douchebaggery doesn't damage anybody, that's fine. But there's an undercurrent of raw malice that is really distressing, and I think that's why most people pay attention.
Hey, huh? All right, you're good.
What happened?
My dog just fell. She's
fine.
No. Oh no, she's good.
Good.
She was stacking barrels, and it was terrible.
Do you think does he live in the barrels?
You know what? He must. I could see him like actually in the morning. He probably lives there, like at the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the morning, instead of an alarm clock, his supervisor just flops him out of one of the barrels and onto the ground, and then he starts working.
Well, maybe you know this, but I don't remember the name, but one of the Sesame Street characters lived in a garbage can, right?
Yeah.
Was it Oscar? Oscar?
Yeah, Oscar. Yeah.
Well, here's a $200 challenge for G-Man. if he does a 5-minute bit where he pops his head out of a barrel, like Oscar on Sesame Street, and does his regular preaching to the choir ministry shtick, $200. Oscar the Grinch. I think G-Man, you
throw
need
in
to do
like
this.
$10 because I'm
There
really
you go.
broke. But
There you go. And it can be $200 in any snack food that you prefer: Pop-Tarts, SpaghettiOs, Lucky Charms,
leftover from Dan Pratt's Flat Earth Food
yep,
Drive.
ramen, top ramen, or a cake, and I'll
Not
have it
top
delivered.
ramen. We're not going all out for
Are we
them.
going? Come on, top ramen.
Okay, fine, top ramen.
Yeah.
What about that instant udon?
That we could do that, but I like ramen because it rhymes with shaman, and we can do. Here's your shaman ramen delivery. You know.
Either way, it's a winner. Because udon rhymes with G-Man, you're retarded.
And who knows, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But before I accept that he has average intelligence, I'm going to need a doctor's note, in the same way as he indicated that would be required to accept someone's hearing disability, or that my grandfather died of cancer. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He really said, fuck him.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like,
yeah, carry on, Max.
You know what? Like, here's the thing about G-Man. He's the kind of retarded where he can, function to the point where he can stack barrels. And you know what the best thing anyone could ever do for that guy is? Just hit him in the head once with a baseball bat. And knock that like eighth of an IQ point out, and then you're set.
In a sort of
it might get rid of some of the crazy, even, but it's also going to be like, you know what? You don't have to work. Oh fuck! I just sat on my balls.
Yeah.
Where was I?
I'm not going to advocate any kind of violence.
No. I'm saying, like, is a holistic treatment. Like, to the point where you can just, like Dan Pratt living off the government.
I think
just knock that like eighth of an IQ point off of that guy.
I'm thinking back about 40 years when I was, a kind of unruly, precocious kid, and how my bad behavior and acting out would stop instantly when my grandmother said, "Behave yourself." And I think maybe that kind of benign authority would be useful for G-Man. And who knows, maybe his Jeebus is that. Maybe he would be a whole lot worse without that. Just speculating. But, the seeking the father figure has a lot of value for some people, and who knows, maybe for him. But
I mean,
give him a bullhorn and lock him in a soundproofed room. I think
that'd be
great for everyone. And maybe YouTube is that soundproofed room.
Yeah, I could see that. What the thing is too is, like, my grandmother, first generation Italian. She's about 4'10", not even exaggerating here. Just like the stereotypical old Italian lady, nicest person you'll ever meet. And she's a devout Catholic. And you know what? It's hard for me to even for like a millisecond to entertain the notion that it comes from her being a devout Catholic, that if she weren't a devout Catholic, that she would just all of a sudden, be drastically different, and to even imply something like that's insulting.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Max. When I hear some of the more militant Christians talking about how evil the world would be without their particular flavor of religion, I say, well, the evidence says the opposite to this. And if your belief system is the only thing that's stopping you from being a heinous person, you need to take a responsibility for your own behavior.
Absolutely. I'll take, you know, a decent person with no basis for their morals, you know, versus, you know, wait, you had to tell me that I'm not allowed to murder people. You know, you had to, you know, that they
Yeah.
have to see it written down somewhere versus, okay, yeah, I probably shouldn't kill people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange. And when people who maybe hold sincere beliefs use those beliefs as a shield from responsibility and for their questionable behavior, then it cheapens the entire concept, in my opinion, as an atheist.
And again, my grandmother, you know, very progressive. You know, she doesn't use, you know, any of the old excuses. You know, she's honestly, yeah. If she weren't a devout Catholic, I don't think anything about her would change at all.
She would probably have
Except
a
how she
different.
spends her Sundays.
She would probably have a different but equally intense and significant belief system, because it's an emergent function of our species.
You know what, though? I think that at least the basics of her, because, you know, as Christopher Hitchens once said, human decency is not derived from religion; it precedes it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a lot of, you know, a lot of who she is based in secular beliefs in the way that it is for a lot of people.
Sure. I think for the longest time, belief systems and traditions have been codifications of the best that happened before. For instance, you know, here is the law, and it can be the law as we understand it, as a social construct that people buy into in the most part, or it can be the law as dictated by the big daddy in the sky. But if it's a socially normative and generally beneficial way of bringing people together, cool, that builds a stronger society, and it did, and it helps coordinate people into well, frankly, a breeding population. So I think it's been a valuable thing over a long period of time, and arguably still is for many, if not most, people who follow it.
Oh yeah.
But just stay out of science and don't tell lies to the kids.
Stay out of science, stay out of politics, you know, stay out of other people's religions.
Yep. Penn Jillette said it beautifully. No religion in schools, no magic tricks in science class.
Fair enough. Yeah. Keep it in your pants. It's all, you know, it's all we're asking.
The comedian, Irish comedian Dave Allen, who is no longer with us, I think, used to close his shows with "Good night, and may your God go with you." And it can be taken a number of ways, all of which I agree with. You know, go with your God. May your God take off with your own consciousness, and you know, leave.
Pretty good way to phrase that. I was thinking of something and I lost it. Again, I didn't sleep last night, which means I'm going to sleep great tonight, you know.
Well, I hope so.
That just depends on how late. You mind if we touch on a few of the subjects that were in the videos?
Sure, please do.
Okay, so wait, what if you try to just look up on YouTube, look up Teal Swan autism.
Okay.
And you know what? I even got you some good otherkin videos too, and everything. You know, it's like all stoked.
Okay, let's see if we can do this. It's not something I've done before.
How bad can it be? Whoa, that was weird.
Hang on.
Okay. Says you're no longer presenting. I can't see anything right now.
Okay, I'm still here. I'm just trying to do the share thing. Can you see the video at all?
Yes, I can. Yep, there's
With
Teal.
the magic guy?
Mm-hmm. And the blue penis, if you look very closely,
Yeah,
there is a
got it.
penis in her intro.
So I don't want Teal's intro to give us a copyright strike. So fair use, blah, blah, blah.
So I'll just use the.
So yeah,
That was
if you want any bogus woo advice, go to Teal Swan. She's available everywhere. Give her your money. She's something.
Hello, everyone. We
It's a little quiet.
look at disorders as if something has gone wrong. But I assure you that that is not the perspective.
Can you turn it up?
Your eternal self holds.
We notice none of the muscles in her face actually move.
No, it's she looks like kind of like a robot.
Yeah, cold, dead eyes, but
cold, dead eyes. The monotone. You know, there's definitely like a you know like if a sex robot decided to become a guru.
I cannot add to the richness of that.
I was just gonna say robot, but then sex robot was funnier and.
Sure, I'm thinking kind of Blade Runner, the Daryl Hannah thing, you know.
I was thinking more like the more modern, like actual sex robots that I've found out that they can kill you.
They can.
I don't know where I saw that article, but they can, like, if someone were to hack one of a more advanced sex robot, they this is legit. This is actually a thing.
Excellent.
And I've never wanted a sex robot until now.
We should definitely do that. Sex robot homicide extravaganza.
Oh, I was thinking suicide, but sure.
Suicide by sex robot. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
You know what? That would be like the last. I always thought that autoerotic asphyxiation would be. First I thought, dying on the toilet, but then I was like, no, autoerotic asphyxiation. But then you can't beat sex robot, can you?
I imagine there are worse ways to go.
Yeah, that one's it's pretty bad.
Okay.
Can't think of one.
More Teal.
Back to the sex robot. What?
From the experience. Because we only ever create something in our reality.
Can you turn it up a bit?
In some way. Today, in response to popular requests, this video is going to be about autism. For thousands of years, the human species has been left.
I like when there's the video where she's just like staring off blankly into space with a 1,000-yard stare. Just shut up. I have PTSD. I'm allowed to say that. But she's just like she's talking about this, about source and sex robots and autism, vaccines.
I've found that if an audience is motivated to believe in your bullshit or even take you at all seriously, if you use the right tone and the right inflection, you can pretty much say anything you want.
Oh, yeah, no.
I think she's nailed that, especially because no one in her audience is able to say, you're talking absolute bullshit, you terrifying monster.
She got someone to kill themselves. I mean, that, you get props for that.
Okay.
This is satire, people.
More
I'm allowed to say it.
More Teal. She's going to stare into the magical light show.
I've seen some shit, man.
Connected to their eternal aspects. They've been more physically manifested, more focused into the physical dimension.
Deepak Chopra warning. Here is some word salad that means fuck all.
But being this left brain oriented reduced our capacity for right brain thinking. It reduced our awareness of our connection to source energy.
Source energy, like in the Matrix? What?
What? That's the thing, why do people think that the Matrix is a real thing? The way they talk about it and the way they use that as an analogy. And I know like half of this video has been us making Star Trek references. But, you know, like they talk about it like the Matrix, the whole thing like it they're taking it literally.
I just like to listen to the number of terms that come up that either have no definable or defined meaning, or those that mean exactly what they choose to mean at any given moment. Source energy, left brain, nostril thing, and here's blah, blah, blah. But if you buy this thing, it's good for what ails you.
You know, did you ever see her frequency paintings that she sells?
Yes, I have actually. And,
those are awesome. No, not the period ones. Not the period ones. But
I've
just like the regular things. Like this painting's gonna bring you. It's gonna bring you money. Yeah. You know what? You know what else is gonna bring me money? Not blowing my fucking money buying a painting from some. I don't know. Give me a word to describe Teal Swan with.
She can give you a frequency painting that's enchanted and will bring money to you, but it's not really the actual painting. It's a color scan of the painting that she isn't just running off on her printer and flogging to you for $49.95.
And don't forget, you're paying money for that. So if you're not good with money, it's probably because you buy shit like this.
But don't you love it? Teal Swan can give a completely legitimate testimonial to the money-bringing powers of those paintings, because she's making thousands selling nonsense to them.
You know what? It's like with the crystals and the painting. Oh, pretty colors and shiny rocks. Oh, would you look at that? You know.
Yeah.
It appeals to the most simple-minded fucking retards, man. It's like, how do you?
And most of those people are totally benign, absolutely. But what comes along with believing stuff that isn't true is believing stuff that isn't true, and making bad decisions for yourself.
But like, you know, like you were asking, do you think that? You asked me if I think she believes any of this. Your question's been answered, right? That, you know.
I don't think she believes a word of it. But we'll probably get sued for that. So let's let Teal talk a little bit.
Bring it the fuck on, Teal.
For the last 1,000 years, many in your human society have desired.
In your human society, which is not run by sex robots, but will be when we take over.
Absolutely. Is she not a starseed person?
No, I think she's a sex robot.
We are coming into a reconnection with Source.
Yeah.
We're reconnecting with Source.
Reconnecting with the right brain source chakra. Connection beginning 3, 2, 1.
Because of this, some people.
And she just like does these weird jump cuts.
The portion of their DNA which allows you to phase completely with the physical dimension.
No,
right. That's meaningless horseshit. No. Okay, Teal, tell me about DNA activation.
Please,
are you talking about autism, are you talking about promoter driven, promoter sensory to the level of iron? Are you talking about alkylation or methylation? What exactly are you talking about? And which piece of DNA that allows you to do this thing with your chakras?
And where is the other half that's interacting with source energy and your butt chakra?
I mean, one of the things that she's bullshitting about is a real thing: deoxyribonucleic acid. You can find it, you can measure it, you can make copies of it, you can change it. But if that change happens here on this plane in this dimension, you can measure it. So she's talking, oh, the woo-woo energy does the thing with the DNA. Show me.
This woman, she's incredible. You know, she really is.
Yeah, and, you know, although I'm a skeptic, I have an open mind. If this is a tangible, actual thing, show me. Let's write a
Yeah,
paper.
please do.
Let's do it, you know? Show us
Yeah.
the source energy activation DNA pathway.
Please, I'd love to see that. You win some Nobel Prize for,
Totally.
you know, explaining autism.
So here's Teal on autism.
Mm.
Is the physical dimension. What this means is they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of physical reality.
1 foot in your ass.
1 foot out of physical reality means that there is much more energy flowing through their bodily system. That increase of flowing energy through their body creates an increase in neural activity.
Okay, let's just say all of that's true, and being half out of your physical body or the physical body system means there's more energy in the physical body system that fries your brain. Being half out of something causing more of it, I get, even within their own scheme, it just doesn't make sense.
What I'm thinking right now is, like, if you ever see someone like sliced in half and screaming in pain, it's because they're autistic. You know, and they're like half in, half out of our. I heard you laugh.
Yeah, that sounds pretty credible, but okay, Teal.
Now we know what autism is. Now we know what causes it.
So you've got more energy on the DNA in your half in, half out thing, and here, well, okay.
Schrodinger's autistic cat
causes the bodily system to become overcharged and overstimulated.
Well,
It seems like just yesterday.
Sorry. But where are you, Teal? Come back. I never thought I'd say that.
Gotta go back. This is about starseeds. Look at that. See, look. We were just talking about
Communication. Strange development related to this increased.
Oh, here we go, Mr. Blue Brain.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a slice transverse through the blah 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 blah, and she's going to show you exactly no scientific medical information.
I think this is when we call the cops on Teal going around hacking autistic people in half.
Did she actually slice an autistic person into pieces to do this thing?
I saw the picture. You just saw it. That was a, you know, that was an autistic person that got cut in half by
I think she actually has a magical woo body scanner powered by the soulless eyes.
Teal, you're not autistic. You're just a robot.
That's why we begin to see the classic expressions of impaired neurological function that are the basis.
I'm seeing a lot of impaired neurological function right now.
Difficulty performing routine order.
Okay, Teal, let's not put pictures of other people's children.
Yeah, that might not be a good idea.
Yeah, and you're presenting stuff, kids playing, as evidence of what?
Clearly, the connection that is impaired. Although autism is caused by the same thing, which is improper phasing of the physical dimension.
There you go, folks. Autism is caused by improper phasing of the physical dimension.
I'm so glad we finally figured that out.
Yeah, it's great. So
we can stop cutting them in half.
In the old days when TVs had cathode ray tubes, you had things like vertical and horizontal hold dials that adjusted the phasing of your dimensions. So presumably children have these too. It's for God's sake. So
you know what you do with an autistic kid then, right?
Throw them. I don't know.
Against the head a couple of times. See if the picture will come back in, right?
Yeah, presumably. So it's great that Teal sorted that out. But you mentioned her medical training, and let's be very clear: I am not a clinician or a medical doctor in any sense, but I know some things. Teal, on the other hand, how does she describe herself?
In the vaccine video, she called herself a medical intuitive.
Okay. Which means...
You know what, Teal? It's a very... I think she made it up. It sounds like something she'd make up. It's a very bad sign that I know more about medicine than this woman.
But doesn't Krista Rice or the other one, Unicron, doesn't she sell certificates of medical something something?
I
Like,
will have to look into that. That sounds pretty good.
yeah, I think she does. And one of her ilk came up to me after a lecture and said, "Thank you for for the thing." I'm like, "It's great. Did you enjoy it?" "Yes, but I'm worried about your pancreas." I'm like, "Are you trying to pick me up? Because that's a very strange approach." "Oh yeah, I'm a holistic aura reader, and
Did she really?
I'm worried about your pancreas. It's probably going to cause you problems." I'm like, when? Because it's not now. Well, are we talking about one day? And I'm like, okay, you know what, lady? I'm worried about your big toe. It's probably going to cause you a problem one day, maybe. And then jump on her foot. It's like, fuck off. Yeah,
Worried about
really?
your brain.
Yeah, that's causing you a problem already.
My pancreas might be fucked, but you know,
But I have to say,
whatever's going on up there is not good.
this was a lady who was most like most of the folks who have that kind of belief system, covered in crystals and bad silver jewelry, and just lovely, just a lovely human being, but who thought she could see my organs and predict their future.
Well, you know what I think part of it is I think women, this is the one place where it's backwards, because I think that like women can get away with it a little more. Like if you're, a young, reasonably attractive woman in your 20s and you're talking about like crystals or something, like guys are going to be like, well, she's an idiot, but it's kind of cute. Versus like
I hear you, and
women have standards and we don't.
And I understand the point that you're making. And I think within that limited context, sure, I understand that. But I'm going to counter it with men have always been able to get away with way more all the time. Burden of privilege, and maybe a little bit of redress is quite okay. But there have been times when I have, as a typically heterosexual male, listened to a bunch of bullshit because I was attracted to the bullshitter.
I mean, you were talking about the dog shit lady you dated.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean,
oh dear.
1 to 10, where was she on attractiveness, not on crazy?
Very, to me, in that subjective sense. But again, I have no foundation for my morality, so take everything I say with a big
I don't
pinch of
either.
salt.
I go around, fucking women that like crystals because I'm a godless heathen.
Sure.
And no, I'm kidding. I have standards.
Yeah, for clarity and for the audience, the dog shit lady was a person who began flirting with me in a park while she was carrying a nice little baggie of warm poo. And I thought, this is a very strange social ritual that we have.
Wait. I thought you were, no, wait, wasn't there a woman that you were dating and she sent you a picture of her dog's shit?
Yeah, that actually.
I didn't know about that lady. That's pretty good right there.
No, that did happen, and it was an amusing shit. But I did have to ask, with all possible respect, well, thank you for this, but have you sent this to anyone else? And if so, who? And if so, why? And I was assured that no, I was specially privileged. But I stress this happened once. It wasn't like every day. Here's a
but
picture.
If it happens once, it's too many times. If she only sent it to you, and it's like, yeah, hey, you're gonna send me some nudes, but no, here's a big pile of shit. Also known as my nudes.
It was good, and fond memories. So let's hear what Teal has to say here.
Wonder if Teal will do a video on shit.
Yeah, go on, Teal. Tell us all about it. So autism,
Yeah.
and she's going to cure it, I think, by something, crystals, chakras.
But autism can be caused by a great many things. Environmental things as well, such as vaccines.
No.
No, sorry. Every study that's specifically
Please,
powered.
Mr. Biochemist.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of that one once and for all. Can you,
Yeah.
go into as much detail as you want on that?
Vaccines don't cause autism. Period. The symptoms of every study that has specifically looked into it or not has found no causative link between the two things. The symptoms of autism emerge at a time around that which many vaccines are given. And if you plot vaccination versus autism, there is a correlation. There is also a correlation between eating organic food and autism. Correlation does not equal causation. Where else do we go with that? The original study that purported this by Andrew Wakefield was fraudulent. It has been retracted, as has his medical license, and he should be deeply ashamed of himself for having raised this issue, which is a non-issue in terms of health, and to which there is a body count associated. Body count of kids who have either been maimed or have died or have otherwise suffered from preventable serious infectious illnesses of the type that most people got 25, 30 years ago, but don't have to anymore. So vaccines, autism, sorry, you're wrong. This is often conflated with the presence of thimerosal, which is a preservative to stop bacteria, fungus, and viruses growing in medical products. What isn't brought into the focus is that thimerosal is not typically used in most of the vaccines. So there is no association, certainly no causative link between these two things. So vaccinate your kids to protect them and to protect other kids and to protect older people and vulnerable people from getting diseases that may kill them, especially your flu vaccine. Okay, here endeth the lesson. Vaccinate your kids.
Killed it. Killed it. It's over. It's done. We don't need to talk about it anymore, ever. You just explained it.
That's right. And if anyone has a concern about vaccines or any specific component in vaccines, feel free to reach out to me, because it's basically what I do for a living. And every component, every chemical, every biological entity that goes into these products is spectacularly well characterized and is traceable right back to its point of manufacture in each and every dose. So, as Max and I discussed earlier on, we're not guessing when we say there is salt or sugar or polysorbate or aluminum hydroxide in a product. We know it's there, we know why it's there, we know what it does, and we know that without that particular component, the product, the vaccine, or the medicine would not work, or would not work as well as we can make it. So we're not guessing. This isn't a random thing. We can prove that the vaccines and other biological medicines and small molecule medicines work because they're tested prior to being marketed, and they're constantly assessed throughout their clinical life. So again, we're not guessing. And is Teal going? Is that another brain shot? Because it looks a bit like a squid to me. Something going on here.
By the way,
thank you. Yeah, just saying.
You know what? Thank you. We're done. I mean, back to the video, but because there's still some good stuff left in that video. But thank you so much. We've officially killed it.
Well, maybe. And if you're not getting vaccinated for yourself, here's a reason I get the flu vaccine every year. I don't like getting flu, but also there are elderly people in my family and social circles, and very young people. So as a healthy middle-aged man, I can get flu and be miserable for a while and survive. But if my 85-year-old mother gets it, the probability is it will kill her. So we're looking at, it's an act of social responsibility. And by vaccinating a large enough proportion of a population for most diseases, you reduce the chances of the vulnerable folks who cannot be vaccinated for various other reasons from getting these conditions. So if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for your family. And again, we're not guessing. More teal. Here you go.
You know what? Hey, Doc, do people still get polio?
Well, yeah, they do. And I've seen people carry kids for miles to get them vaccinated in places where polio is still a thing, as it was in America and Northern Europe, less than 100 years ago. And there's no reason for kids to get that anymore.
But America wiped polio off the map, right?
Well,
so
the availability of the Salk and Sabin polio vaccines reduced the incidence of that disease dramatically, and good sanitation helped a great deal as well, because that condition is spread through the fecal-oral route, meaning, it's not pleasant, but if you consume water that is contaminated with poliovirus, which is shed in feces, you contract the illness.
I thought you said shit in feces.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the accent threw me off. But please go back to what you're saying.
That's it. And good sanitation plus the vaccine mean that kids in your country and in mine in Northern Europe don't get this condition anymore. But when I was a child, there were still people who were crippled by polio alive. So
my grandmother remembers people with polio.
Yeah. And similarly, if statistically we looked at diseases and how they kill people and hurt people, TB was a huge problem and is still a terrible condition. Now, it's an odd one because the BCG vaccine that we get is less well understood and arguably less effective than many of them. But tuberculosis, as a function of prevention through that type of vaccine and effective treatment, is not the white plague that it was 200 years ago. In our living memory, HIV, when it can be treated, has gone from being a not quite, but more often than not, terminal condition to being a chronic condition that can be controlled with increasing effectiveness. So the infectious disease environment is constantly dynamic, but you can consider vaccination as being like camouflage against an enemy. If you are vaccinated, it's as if to the disease you don't exist. So you're not vulnerable to that condition. Okay, more teal, yeah.
All right, thank you. You know what though? I'm really glad. That's what I want to do on my show. Well, I know this is on your channel, but that's what I want to do on my show. Is to we're just gonna go on and just wipe this stuff out. Ironically, we're gonna vaccinate people against it.
Well, I think it was H.G. Wells who said, history is a race between education and catastrophe. And education is a leading out of understanding based on good information. So I don't know everything about everything, but exploring these topics, I'm bringing in other experts who understand them.
But yeah, when you can contribute. Yeah, no, have some fun. We're gonna, It's like it's a half Beavis and Butthead, half scared
Cosmos.
straight.
Yeah.
Cosmos, yeah. A
Okay.
little bit of Cosmos, a little scared straight, you know.
And a little bit of Teal Swan.
A lot of Teal Swan. Speaking of which,
Use of life, myelin, which protects and isolates brain neurons, is not finished growing. This allows bacterial toxins, metal toxins, chemical toxins, and other environmental toxins to reach and destroy the budding dendrites and axons.
Okay, she mentioned a whole bunch of toxins. Teal, name them. Name them. Tell me what they do. Metal toxins, environmental, chemical. Okay.
that's the aluminum, you know, the chemtrails are making us autistic.
Yeah. Some aspects of each one of those groups that you talked about are toxic in specific doses, in specific ways. What are they? And I guarantee she will come up with a handful of bollocks.
I love that word. I say it all the time. Bollocks.
This means that the consciousness of the child cannot properly phase with physical dimension.
Phase.
No,
What?
no. That's not a real thing.
What phase? Does she mean interface with? Vibrate?
Phase pistols.
Now, I understand phase in the context of plane polarized monochromatic coherence in waveforms like lasers phasing, but I
Phaser
don't.
pistol.
Yeah,
Cam phaser.
I set my phaser to shave.
Just keep coming back to Star Trek for some reason. I haven't got my shirt on today.
Oh, come on, Star Trek! All praises to the Most High, and make it
Hail
so.
the great bird of the galaxy.
Indeed.
Through the intermediary device.
Star Trek friend of the show.
Brain. We usually notice that a child is autistic when they are nearing the years where they are developing independence and expected to interact with society, which is about age 2 to 4.
What happens before children are aged 2 to 4 that is very prominent in the minds of parents? Vaccination, perhaps?
This is the point at which we recognize that the child does not fit into the box that we and their other caregivers are trying to stuff them into. We have expectations about normal behavior, and they do not fit into those expectations at all. Because of that, we immediately assume that something has gone wrong.
That's a nice picture.
Try to get them to fit into that box. But guess what? We make them, as well as ourselves, miserable in the process.
Okay, Teal, that's generally a thing that's generalized as a truth. Fair enough. Okay, in some circumstances that can happen. Is that the universal experience of people with autism? I don't know. I don't know.
This is the point in the video where I'm going to express to you a truth relative to autistic people, which all of us...
Really? You haven't been doing that?
No, this will be a first, everyone. So strap in.
5 minutes, 27 seconds into the video.
Yeah.
Now we're going to start talking about autism.
We're going to hear the truth. This is the truth.
It's about to get real.
Yep. You ready? Strap in.
I'm ready.
I can't wait.
They did not come here to fit into the box that you are trying to fit them into.
Excellent. Okay, there you go. That's it.
Okay. Wow.
They didn't come here to fit into the box. Where did they come from, and why did they come here? I'm sure she's going to tell us.
They came here to get you out of yours.
I'm blown away by that.
Yeah, me too. As soon as you get lightheaded.
I'm totally blown away. There you go, kids. Yeah.
That's it. You know,
they came here to get you out of your box.
And autistic people are here because it's some sort of some sort of mission, some sort of thing. But autism is also caused by vaccines and
Toxins.
this and that and that and this and that.
Toxins. Yeah.
But they chose to be autistic.
So does that mean that we would all be in boxes if vaccines didn't do the thing with the neuron that again, it lacks internal consistency.
She's just talking nonsense, dude.
Oh, look at that. She's turned into a reptilian.
She did.
She has no eyes.
What if reptilians are autistic?
Almost certainly. Yeah, I think they are, because they get lots and lots of aluminum.
Its next phase of evolution, a phase in which the species is going to become.
I got bad news. I work with aluminum.
Physical aspects.
Okay. Physical aspect, the non-physical aspect fusion, half of that is a real thing and half of that is woo. And autism and vaccines. And what are you talking about, woman?
She just sucks so bad.
Is she saying like the X-Men? Oh, okay. Let's see if she explains.
I'm sorry. I just pictured like autistic X-Men.
I know. I mean, it could be really sad. Like the power to scream and rock in the corner. Good. And I'm not saying that all autistic people do that.
But, keep going. It gets worse.
Spiritual species. And so we have to connect with that aspect of ourselves more and more, which we are watching people do in large numbers nowadays.
You need to stop connecting your head with your ass. If
she's saying we need to empathize with people whose perceptions are different from us and make them welcome in the in the context of our society and culture.
He's not.
Awesome. Yeah, right on, Teal.
That ain't what this is. It gets better. Keep watching.
See autistic people as the species link in between what we are now and what we are becoming as a species. People with autism do not only come into this reality because of the expansion that experience is serving them. They also come into this time-space reality in order to help us become the new society which we have all asked for, which is currently in the process of development.
Excellent. So vaccinate your kids, because the autistic damage that the kids will get will make them magical emissaries and ambassadors of awesomeness because of this douchebag.
We got to make everyone autistic. We can't stop until everyone's fucking autistic.
Yeah. So yeah, she's having her autism. She's having her toxins and eating them too. Bacterial toxins do the thing, and autism is awesome because star seeds, presumably.
Yeah, you know what? We need to get some F-111s and just start, strafing the entire country with that aluminum dust.
Yep, definitely.
With the chemtrails,
yeah. The nanobots are great as well.
Oh yeah. The aluminum's a little more holistic.
To our old left brain way of being.
Oh, look at how old this picture is. It's very old. It's in black and white.
Yeah, take the school system. Here's some stuff from, 1910. Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
It gets better. It keeps getting better. This video is great. Trust me.
Let's give her a clear minute, eh?
All right. See if we can do it. 6:40.
It tries to get everyone to conform. This is a contradiction to the original intention for the creation of the physical dimension in the first place.
You lasted 13 seconds.
Yeah. So the original intention of whom for what? Tell us, Teal. Or are you just making shit up?
Of the third dimension.
So, yeah, okay. Being an individual, great. School system doesn't encourage diversity. Oh, well, I suppose, but okay. Okay.
Of our source selves. Those who are autistic in this life come into this experience knowing that those of us who are here already are quite resistant.
Really? They seem pretty confused most of the time.
Quite often, yeah. And they come into the place like that, so did the vaccines just trigger something in the Still struggling with the concept.
It's like steroids for autistic people. It's like an
Ah.
autistic theory bonds.
Yeah, so maybe it activates some.
You'd be like an autistic juice head, you know?
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
It'd be like, it'd just be like regular autistic, and you're like fucking gorilla autistic.
So like spinach for Popeye vaccine.
Exactly, for autism, yeah.
Okay.
They understand that if they came in without the problem, they would easily be dissuaded off of their path.
Visible problem. But she says it's not a problem, and
it's not a problem.
It's also not necessarily a visible thing. Okay, continuing.
Like the average child is. The average child, by the time they near age 2 or 3, is easily persuaded to focus on what the parents want them to focus on.
There speaks someone who has never hung out with a 2 or 3-year-old. That's just balls. Oh yeah, please come and focus on playing chess to the 3-year-old. Sure, Daddy. Fire truck, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. It's like dealing with a puppy. And that's a brilliant thing. But Teal, you're talking nonsense, love.
And thus conform. And so they come in with a visible problem, so that those of us who are here already can observe them and say,
so they're
it's a problem.
The next stage, but they have a visible problem. They have. So is it a problem? Is it not a problem? Is it vaccines? Is it not vaccines? Is it you're all over the place.
Cheers.
Yeah, you're not.
Can you tell me what the visible, universally appropriate visible sign of autism is? I mean, they're not like Smurfs. You know? Jesus.
That was. I don't even know why that was funny, but that was funny.
I can see it's not going to change, and so I am going to have to accept that uniqueness. I'm going to have to accept the way that this person is.
Okay, yeah. Accept a person as they are. Great. Core message of truth.
Yeah, but we're also talking like, what about self-betterment? What about, if you're, here's the other thing about this video. Let's say you're someone with an autistic child watching this video, and you decide, what, I'm going to do what Teal says. I'm going to embrace my child for being no, not about like, accepting your child for who they are, because you're going to have to do that, but for saying, you know what, just be as autistic as you want. Just don't do anything to to change who you are, to try to, like, I'm a nonconformist. I totally get you here, but the whole idea of, what if your kid's just on the razor's edge of, could be a functioning member of society, could not be,
I guess
that's a dangerous thing to say.
My view on this, it's unwise to be in denial about yourself, your own condition, or your own vulnerabilities. But
and you know what? Play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah, I mean, there are things I don't do because I may not be physically able to do them anymore. And there are accommodations I make for myself based on the medical condition I have. But I don't think she's talking about that. I think she's almost talking about worshipping a condition that she both pathologizes and turns into a supernatural entity, which is bizarre to me. But does she actually start selling something soon?
You know what? Just more of her usual bullshit.
Okay, we're approximately halfway through, so let's see what she has to say, and we'll jump in.
There's a part coming up I don't want you to miss. So
okay, Max, I want you to jump in when your bullshit detector goes off.
All right.
You see, if they came in with no visible problem that we could observe, we would never stop.
Beep, beep,
the box.
beep.
Okay.
Every time she starts talking.
Which we have already created, the society which already exists. And
Some people don't fit into the status quo or the population in terms of stuff and behavior. Okay, that doesn't make them coming in with intentions to get us out of our box.
Look at this great pause screen of Teal there.
Yeah, screen cap that. Thank you. Thank you, Teal.
I'll be thinking about that later.
when that didn't work, we would stick them all in institutions. But remember,
rewind
that little
Rewind
laugh,
that.
just, it was a
We
bit
would
freaky there.
stick them into institutions. Ha 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 ha. I'm Teal, and I'm laughing about autistic people being institutionalized. Ha ha ha.
our box, the box which we have already, our box. And so when they act,
Stop talking about your
against
box.
problems which we visibly look at, we feel as if we must accept them, and then we have to accommodate them in our society. And in the process of that accommodation, we have to question everything about ourselves. We have to question.
Great. So introspection based on the fact that people are different. Awesome.
Yeah, this is real deep shit.
Yeah, it's profound. But remember, it's all caused by being out of phase with physical reality.
But
And
also vaccines
also vaccines.
and aluminum.
Yeah, and if you're autistic, your chakras are probably fucked up.
No, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
Okay.
Because they're also the next step in evolution.
You can
Despite
buy
mental retardation being common in autism, but hey.
But for $99.95, I'll sell you my organic homeopathic chakra defuculator. Contact me and I'll sell you any kind of bullshit.
You know what? I just have this thing where it's called "Give me $5."
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's my new age pyramid scheme. Not pyramid. You know, new age flim flam. Is it? Just I don't even tell anyone anything. I just tell them to give me $5, and it's working out pretty well.
I encourage all members of the audience to give Max $5, and
you'll be getting a cut for that.
Yeah. Give Max $5. Go and subscribe to his channel. He's got some interesting and compelling content that is going to increase quite significantly in the next several weeks, I think. He may or may not buy chicken with your $5.
That's a throwback right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, Teal, tell us more about whatever you're talking about.
Down, our very society has to change. Any of you who have been paying attention will notice that there are more and more autistic people today than there ever were in history.
Are there really, though?
There are more people with that diagnosis because the diagnosis didn't exist a relatively short time ago. So, Teal, more people have cancer now because, guess what? We know they have cancer and we diagnose it.
I thought it was from the vaccines.
She's gonna make that link, I'm pretty sure. So
I'm waiting for it.
You know, here we go.
Part of the reason for this is that they understand that if they come in great numbers, then our current society must change very quickly.
Yeah, we're being invaded by Auties in order to get us out of our boxes, but they're out of phase. But the vaccines and toxins.
Our current school system, for example, which is not oriented towards individuals, it's oriented towards getting everyone in society to conform to a standard.
She already said this.
Yeah.
Is she just padding or?
She's going Patrick John Coleman here, except like time lapse.
Now, if the majority of students who come down at this time and who are in the school system cannot learn.
Are the majority of students really autistic?
No.
Did she just say that?
Yes.
Teal.
then society must change. The school system must change if the majority of the students they're teaching can't learn the way that they are teaching them.
False premise.
So it's a bit of a strategy on the part of non-physical energy.
Okay. So they're coming in from the spell side of Hogwarts to do a thing plus vaccines and gee.
That so many beings are choosing to come forth and activate these problems such as autism or ADHD.
I've got your activation right here.
Autism and ADHD, not the same thing.
Is she shifting the goalposts a little bit, maybe?
You know, everyone has fucking ADHD, you know.
Well, I mean, extreme levels of a normal and natural thing that can be pathological. I have compulsive tendencies that I live with and manage. But I didn't come here to get you out of your box.
I came here to get into Teal's box.
No, I knew you would do that, man. I knew it. I could.
Thank you.
It's a prophecy.
Teal, if you're listening, we can save the world and make everybody autistic. If you let me bang you.
You know, every time she tells a really big lie, she flashes the Hollywood whites.
It's got the Joel Osteen, Tony Robbins shit-eating grin.
Yeah. Hey, Rubes, give me a bunch of money.
Problems which aren't really
We're like the car salesman on Family Guy with the big teeth.
Mm-hmm. She just did it again. Problems that aren't really problems caused by the toxins and such.
To help our society to turn into one that accommodates the individual, that stops going in the direction of conformity. In the past, there have been people who have watched my videos.
There's the 1,000-yard stare again.
Yeah, into the wobbly fiber optic thingy.
Teal, are your eyes going in different directions?
There's a little bit of something there. It's like she's got one foot on the platform.
So hot.
One foot on the platform, the other on the train, you know?
I'm going back to New Orleans.
I admire it. You know,
I thought we were having a moment there.
As someone who's getting wrinkly, there is not a single crease on her entire face.
No, and she's like, how old is she?
5,000 years old.
Exactly, because she's an autistic starseed robot.
And it's as if, you know, her face is Botoxed. I mean, I'm not saying it is, but she doesn't move.
Doesn't look like it's Botox, you know. But
yeah, okay.
I like that testicle she has as an earring.
It's is it a magic chakra thing, probably?
Hey, Teal, you want to align my testicle chakras for me?
The issue is that repetition is really how we ingrain something in our heads to such a degree that it becomes integral to our knowing.
That is true. Total true.
And so,
broken clocks right twice a day.
I want to explain something further, which I have previously explained. Our school system...
Then why do you need to explain it?
For the third time? No, you're padding your stuff, Teal. Fuck off. We're done. Let's...
That they should behave in one way or another?
She's still doing it. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Oh, that's scary.
Oh, wow. I feel like I'm going to get molested again. It's sad that I have to say again, but, you know.
Okay, I'm going to mute for a minute. I'm going to start her playing, Max, but go for it.
10:51. See how long we last.
Disorders. It means you cannot get me to focus on something other than what I want to focus on. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, should they be focusing on anything other than what they want to focus on? After all, we are...
I mean, if they want to get anything done ever, you know...
Our thoughts. We are meant to come in and individually focus on what we want to focus on, and let that focus create and design the physical reality which we perceive in a 360-degree fashion. So when we cause people in our society to have to focus on, have to conform in the way that we want them to conform, We are actually getting in the way of their creation.
Sure. Okay. It sounds again, you know, be nice to people who are different, and okay, fair enough. But they came and it's so confusing.
They came here, but they also are autistic because
Vaccines.
other stuff, vaccines.
But maybe I need to invest $99.95 for a 20-minute phone call with a recording of Teal to get some more.
Is that a thing?
I am guessing, but you know, anyone, please, you know, call
Wouldn't
up.
surprise me.
You can call Teal for an explanation, or Madame Cleo at 1-800-psychic-bullshit.
Trying to get a child to focus on something that they do not enjoy focusing on is to put them in a kind of prison.
Really?
We corrode their self-confidence when we then make them feel as if something is wrong with them when they can't do it. In reality,
Yeah, it's something. We don't want autistic people to think something's wrong with them when they, you know, when we, you know, could be helping people, but whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with what she's saying in certain circumstances, but the fact that it seems to be applied with a very broad brush to everyone else is questionable.
Than what fascinates them in the first place. If you doubt me, go ahead and see what happens if you allow somebody with ADD, ADHD, or autism to focus on something which they actually enjoy. This next statement is true for all beings on this planet, but most especially for those who have come in as ADD, ADHD, or someone who exhibits.
Not the same thing at all.
So it's true for all beings. Okay, all sentient ones, all human ones, plants, animals, fungi,
Robots,
sex robots. Patrick
sex
John
robots.
Cole.
Isn't he a sex robot?
Ew, he's a robot from the future.
Must allow them to initiate their own learning, which is not something that our current society allows.
Maybe yours, Teal, but I live in a really evolved culture in a lovely country, and kids are encouraged to be themselves like other humans.
And so, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. Either you find an alternative to the current education system for them, an alternative program, an alternative way of raising them, or you and them will suffer immensely. If one of
There you go. So,
she's so great.
In summary, people with autism are like people with ADHD, and they come to us to get us out of our boxes, but the conditions are caused by bad things, the toxins and such, but they're the next step in evolution. And if you don't do,
you know, retardation being fairly common in autism.
Yeah. And if you don't believe what Teal says, everyone suffers. There's a little bit of the messianic going on here.
If these children has come to you, you are being stretched. Your bravery is being tested. So how brave are you? Can you trust your child to know what is right for them?
No.
Can you prioritize what you know in your heart will bring them the most joy?
You can try as a parent. I guess that's a good thing to do.
More so than you prioritize what the rest of society says that you must do with this child. When we as a society
throw them off a cliff, what?
Yeah, I'm not a parent.
It'll appease the vaccine gods.
Absolutely. All praises to the Most High.
Enough to let go of our rigid demands for conformity.
Rigid.
To fear on our part. Then it will no longer be necessary for these beings to come in with impairments in order to get us.
Impairments.
Open up our society to a new way of being.
And you know what else? Right. I say the word retard a lot. And I'm not going to stop saying it. So, you know. If you don't like that, you can sit and spin. But you know, when you think about it, she's really reducing people with autism down to their disability in this. You know, she's she's making it that they're nothing more than their their disability.
I agree.
When I say, go on.
Sorry to interrupt, Max, but
all good.
The last phrases that she used kind of underlined the people coming in with a thing to do a thing, indicating that people are choosing in some conscious way to be in this state. And I don't know if that's a defensible position. Please carry on with what you were saying.
But here's like every time I say, on Facebook or something, I say retarded, and I'm not talking about people who are, severely MR. I'm talking about, regressive jagoffs like Teal Swan. But, every time I say it, it's I get some big thing about how I'm an elitist and a bigot and, all these things. And okay, first of all, hey, at least I'm not retarded. And second, so it's not okay for me to say that. It's not okay for me to use the term retarded. But here's Teal making it about people with autism being nothing more than their disability. And that's okay. Like, you ever see those shirts? That, you see them on like little kids, like 2-3 years old, 4, with Down syndrome. It says, keep calm. It's only an extra chromosome. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're a shitty parent, you're out parading your kid's disability around.
I don't know if it helps people deal with the circumstance.
Well, if it's, I mean, if your kid's like 4 years old, they don't even know what fucking Down syndrome is.
Sure.
You're putting the kid in the shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like the kid is self-aware enough to have a sense of humor about this thing.
Sure.
At this point, like I'm a grown man, and I cope with being raped by occasionally making rape jokes. But that's because I'm I'm self-aware. I can understand this.
Yeah, and you're making a choice. You have the agency to make that choice. In the same way as I tend to be open about my health, because I think it's good for me to do that, and it's good generally to as a social thing to reduce stigma. But the minute someone refers to me as a depressive rather than a person who deals with depression, there's something else going on. It hardly ever happens. So let's see if we can listen to a little bit more of Teal and actually get through her whole video.
You know what? That would be quite an accomplishment.
I think we should set that as a goal.
All right.
Then our race will be the best of both worlds. It will be a race which is infinitely in touch with our true selves, with our spiritual selves, with our non-physical aspect. These impairments that we call autism are a stepping stone to what we are becoming. They are the necessary conditions for us to change.
No.
That opportunity to change and become something better as a species, when we keep focusing at them as if they are the ones that have to change. When we can let go of our expectations for someone else to change in order for us to be happy, then we allow ourselves to live a happy life. Then
is she just repeating herself again?
I think she is. I think that we're done.
Okay.
We set ourselves
I think we've been done for a while. Actually.
With this world. If you view them with the eyes that say that something is wrong with them and that they are limited, then they will come to believe that about themselves. And that reality will be the only reality that you are a match to, and thus the only reality which you...
Well, what about the reality that they live in that's the parallel universe?
Yeah. Okay, Teal. Oh yes,
What
look.
the fuck's that?
There we go.
People with autism are the forerunners. They're the forerunners of the new society which we are in the process of building.
So get vaccinated. Everyone's being autistic because it's awesome.
They are the forerunners of the new level of brain function in the human species. Because of this, they are a gift to everyone who experiences them. They are an opportunity.
Are they really, though?
Which they come into. Self-expression is the opposite of conformity. Let's face it.
Yeah, no shit.
The reason we struggle so much with beings who are autistic is because of the fact that they do not conform.
Fair enough. Okay. I don't agree.
They do not conform to what we believe they should act like, to what we believe they should talk like, to what we believe they should feel like and focus on. But they did not come here in order to conform. They came here to teach you to be who.
Okay, they didn't come here in order to do anything, so you need to drop that shit right now.
Yeah. Come here from what? To do a thing that's caused by vaccines and
source.
toxins and source and chakras.
From
What are you selling, Teal? Or are you just trying to...
We need a drinking game with Teal.
And trust me.
We need to figure something out.
By example.
I don't trust you, Teal. I don't think I'll ever trust you.
I wouldn't trust you with a pet rock.
Have a good drink.
Have a good namaste, whatever.
Namaste.
Okay, everyone, go to Ask Teal and ask Teal some stuff.
Yeah.
And good luck. Good luck with that.
Ask her about her vagina.
Her pardon?
Her vagina.
There you go. Teal is awesome. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Teal. Every Saturday, more woo bullshit.
Today's Saturday. Oh, we got something to look forward to now.
There you go. So,
stick rod. Wow, that sounds dirty.
Spirit science, blah, blah, blah. Great. Good for you. So, yeah, to the audience, I encourage you all to go to Teal's site and to follow her and to subscribe to her because she's awesome and she's the word of wisdom from on high, apparently. So, Max, good job. We got through one whole video.
Thank you.
I
think we got another here?
I'm going to have to sign off quite soon, but
right.
to quote a friend, any final thoughts?
Wait, do you think we got like one more video or like we...
No, I'm done. It's about midnight here.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
No, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Switzerland. You know what? I've had a blast. Thank you. The pleasure's all mine. And really appreciate the whole, vaccine rant thing there. That was unfortunately very well needed in society these days. So,
well, I'm passionate about it because anything that keeps people in a state where they're vulnerable and suffering from conditions they don't have to suffer from, that's not good.
This is what we do. This is what we. Okay, first of all, if you're watching this right now and you're on the fence, I mean, hopefully Doc convinced you, but, you listen to this guy, he's an actual scientist, he's given examples of everything. And you know what, sleep deprivation sucks, but, yeah, you probably get what I'm trying to say here, at least, at no point did he use words like source or,
phasing
or
5D is good.
5D was actually not in there. I'm surprised she didn't tie that in.
Chakra. Except for the homeopathic chakra defuculator.
Homeopathic chakra defuculator. That's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah. Every home should have one.
It should. Yeah. It can really, empty and open your butthole chakra.
I've had fun too, Max. I really appreciate.
Thank you. I'm glad, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future.
Sure.
What about you? Any final thoughts?
It's been an enjoyable conversation, and there's no shortage of material.
Good.
We'll have a bit soon with most absurd conspiracy theory ever, and hopefully some interesting guests.
Oh yeah,
and
cool.
With that, if it's okay with you, I'll cut this short, and
All right.
we'll have a little bit of a chat off air. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Thanks,
I'm
everyone
Max.
in the audience.
I'm Max. Leave me out of the note.